trait is a notable feature or quality in a person. Each of us has a different combination of traits that makes us unique. Traits are passed from generation to generation. We inherit traits from our parents, and we pass them on to our children. What types of traits exist? Physical traits are characteristics of one's physical makeup. These include hair color, eye color, and height. Behavioral traits are characteristics of the way one acts. A sheepdog's herding instinct and a retriever's desire to fetch are good examples of behavioral traits. Predisposition to a medical condition. An increased risk of getting a certain type of disease is also a type of trait that can be passed from parent to child. Some examples of such diseases include sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, heart disease, cancer, and certain types of mental illness. What defines our traits? The instructions encoded in our genes play a role in defining traits, but the non-genetic or environmental influences in our lives are just as important in shaping our traits. Sometimes these environmental factors can even change a trait. Let's see some examples. Physical traits. Genetics. Our genes determine our natural hair color. Environment. Exposure to sun or hair dyes can easily change that color. Behavioral traits. Genetics. People breed retrievers to chase things and bring them back. Environment. You can train a retriever to instead roll over and play dead when you toss a ball. Predisposition to a medical condition. Genetics. A person may be born with an increased risk of heart disease. Environment. Eating healthy foods and exercising can reduce this risk. How are our traits determined? To find out, let's examine the thumb extension trait, which is how our thumbs look when straightened. This trait can come in two forms, straight thumb or hitchhiker's thumb. Which one do you have? Scientists describe the set of genetic information for each form as an allele. We can describe the straight thumb allele with a big H and the hitchhiker's thumb allele with a little h. Each of us has two alleles for the thumb extension trait. As a result, we all have one of these combinations. Big H, big H, big H, little h, little h, little h. You can probably guess the trait in people who have two of the same allele. Those with big H will have straight thumbs. Those with little h will have hitchhiker's thumbs. Scientists use the word homozygous to describe having two of the same allele for a trait. But what about people who have one of each allele, or big H, little h? Will they have one straight thumb and one hitchhiker's thumb? No. When two different alleles are present, they interact. For the thumb extension trait, the big H allele masks the little h allele. People with the big H, little h combination will have straight thumbs. In this case, the big H allele is called dominant, and the masked little h allele is recessive. Scientists use the word heterozygous to describe having two different alleles for a trait. The mother and the father, shown here, each have two alleles for the thumb extension trait. When they have a child, they pass one of their two alleles to the child. The child's trait is determined by the alleles she receives from her parents. Each child from these parents can receive a different combination of alleles. When the first child grows up and has children of her own, she will contribute one of her two alleles to each child. Are all traits inherited this simply? No. Thumb extension is a well-defined physical trait. Most traits are more complex and cannot be tracked through generations this easily. Alleles can also work together to produce incomplete dominance. For example, crossing a red carnation plant with a white one can produce pink carnations. One gene, one trait? Not often. Traits influenced by just one gene are rare. These are called single gene traits. Most of the time, traits are shaped by more than one gene, and sometimes many. These are called complex traits. We're all different, but we're very alike. Look around and you'll see how many different traits people have. We all have different skin color, hair color, and eye color. But underneath the surface, people are remarkably alike. All humans share 99.9% identical DNA. It's those very few differences in our DNA that create the diversity you see. What is a trait? A trait is a notable feature